Just wrapped up the first portion of chapter 2. Just did a bunch of filming at the Celery Bog in West Lafayette for a couple of the training arc films. Cole came back into town looking like Ishmael from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Hey man, fucking Ishmael, get out of here. Hey, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do for the acting career, and if it means buzz in the head, it means buzz in the head. So
I mean, it's just a testament to your dedication to this film.
Amen.
And people will see what we mean when they watch the video.
They will.
But something that we have to announce that we're extremely proud of and honored to be a part of is we were awarded an official selection at the BBR Indie Films Film Festival. That's going to be July 24th for I Take It Personal, the video that we did for that record, and it's going to be premiering officially July 24th, 6 to 10 p.m. Studio Movie Grill, Marietta, Georgia. Super excited to be a part of that. Get to talk to media and a bunch of other industry professionals giving us feedback. We get to ask questions and stuff like that. Super stoked and honored to be a part of something like this. This is our first award, something that we've been recognized for the first time. So it's a great feeling, and we appreciate everybody that's been tuning in so far, and appreciate BBR Indie Films for selecting our video.
In addition to that, we also are up to 450 views on our lately video that we posted 9 days ago as of today, which is Sunday the 7th. So also a huge thank you guys for the support on that video as well. That one was a little overdue. We actually filmed that at the same time as I Take It Personal, and we decided we wanted to disperse them out, split them up evenly. So we went about and did that, and it's kind of a better late than never situation, but hands down for sure that was definitely one of our coolest projects to date. Very story based through the video rather than just the audio and the lyrics. I think you guys will really enjoy it. If you haven't seen it already, definitely go check that one out. Show some support, leave a comment, let us know what you think of the video as well. With that, we also continue trudging through the big project.
Had some hurdles that we had to get over along the way, but that's all right. We made it work. We were super efficient today, got a lot done, did what we needed to do. Now we just move forward on to the next part of chapter 2. Super excited for that. What was your favorite part about today?
Favorite part of today was being done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it is just that simple. Honestly, we sat down on Friday night and we have this whole entire Wikipedia page dedicated to the project. It's well, I wouldn't call it a Wikipedia page, but it's very similar to a Wikipedia page, and it is the home hub of this whole entire project. And there's so many things that you have to balance when you do projects like this. The biggest thing is you have to know when it's time for planning and when it's time for execution of film. They both go hand in hand. You really cannot do one without the other. You really have to hone in on the story, make sure you got the right details, make sure you know where you want to shoot the thing. I mean, the more effort that you put into your project, the better it's going to be. That's just how it is.
Absolutely. And if you go into something, if you go on to film day, go on set, and you just start recording things without being prepared, without having a plan set, without having an idea of what you're going to do, it's just not going to turn out as well as you would wish, and it's not going to look as professional as you want as well. Viewers aren't going to relate to it, resonate with it, rather than if we were to sit down, prepare for everything, make sure that we have all our ducks in a row, make sure that we have everything that we need to execute the day properly. Our final product just comes out way better, and we're able to execute it more efficiently, and I think that's what we did well. We sat down Friday, got our shit together, kept each other accountable. When it came to Sunday, we were ready to rock and roll, and we ran it.
We didn't really even say anything. We just fucking filmed.
Yeah.
just went right after it because we both knew exactly what needed to be done, and we had already established an order of which we wanted to film. So it was knock it down, execute. I mean, at that point, we're talking checklists. That's really all it is. When you're doing a big project, I mean, it's just checklist after the next, after the next, after the next. At the end of the day, you just need to make the product 100%. I mean, like I said, there's a fine balance of planning and execution. And for us, it's like we've got about a third of the video or the short film absolutely 100% laid out to where we want it, and we're ready to film like right now. Now it's just putting the pieces together. You know, there's a few people that we got to allocate into the scene, just information that we got to give to people to make sure they know what they're doing and such. But overall, I mean, we know the direction, and then once we're on the tail end of that, now it's back into planning phase, days, get your planning done for the next segment of the project, and bam, go at it. So, I mean, it's like, I think we've learned a lot about the planning portion of this project over time, because we truly built this story from scratch. It was a gloomy day in January, or maybe February, and Devin and I are sitting down in my basement, and I probably have the clip, honestly.
Most likely.
But it was something along the lines of like, well, what do you want this thing to be about? And Devin said politics. The whole thing, I mean, just from absolute scratch. And we came up with the general synopsis of the direction we want the film to go. And then from there, we just built out the fine-tuned details. It's just like, even though you have the big essence of the project, you still don't know all the little details, and that requires attention.
I mean, back in January, it's basically like we came up with the course syllabus, and we're following everything to a T, making adjustments along the way as needed, and we're just preparing for test day, which is days on set for this film. And then once we have all that wrapped up, we have a lot to do post-production wise, a lot to figure out with the marketing. I feel like we're definitely heading down the right path. Everything's coming together nicely. I'm super confident with it. You're super confident with it. It just feels great at the end of film day. And I think we're doing what we need to do in order to execute this properly and make sure that everybody sees it the same way that we do.
Advice out there for anybody that wants to take on some bigger projects of their own. I want you to think of these type of projects like a video version of making an educational book. So when you open up that history book or that math book or whatever it is back in high school that you can remember, you know, those first few pages, obviously they have some sort of like in memory of or whatever, but you have your table of contents, and that is going to go over every single thing that's in the book. And for a book that's, you know, yay big, very daunting task, right? You're like, oh my gosh, we have to go through all these things in detail. And so what we did over 4 or 5 months, we built out the table of contents, and now we're going back through and filling it in with all the supplemental information. So yeah, it's a process that you got to go through. There's no question about that. It's very rewarding, and honestly, that's what it takes to be successful. You have to, I mean, look, what's going to separate you from anybody else? And it's going to be what work that you decide to put in that was greater than anybody else's. And I think you have a multitude of ways of doing that. The first, obviously, is staying consistent, especially on social media. You see plenty of people on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, with the 365 days of videos challenges. There's something to that, obviously. I think I commend a lot of people that do that, but there's also big projects. You know, we're talking like Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight, Inception, Dunkirk, like all that, adding that to your resume, and that's more of what we're looking at.
Yeah, staples in your career, something that's going to stamp the history book, something that we're going to be remembered for. I mean, at the end of the day, we want this to be our full-time career, and there's only one way to get that, and that's to treat it like a full-time job, full-time career. Even if you're working 40, 45 hours a week for your regular job that you got during the day, sorry to tell you, if you want this to happen, you got to spend an equal amount of time on things that you want to make happen in your life, and that's what we're doing.
If you don't want to work your 9-to-5 job anymore, don't. Pick something else. You don't have to be stuck in that. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I'm not saying there's not risk that's involved with that, but there's risk in everything that you do. There's a risk that you show up to work and you break your foot. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. You just pick the risk that you want to take.
There's a risk that you lose out on any opportunity by doing anything else with your life. If you're just going into work, doing something that you're unhappy with, doing something that you don't feel rewarded for, what are you doing then? You're just clocking in, clocking out, going home. Do something that's going to impact your life and the people around you. Simple as that.
Hey man, I mean, we're flowing, and we've got a direction for part 2 and 3, and when we get those done, we're going to be feeling pretty good, because we've already got a decent plan for a couple of the other videos within the project. I think there's 2 that we're still in brainstorming developmental phase for, and those will definitely be some of our hardest challenges that we'll have throughout this project, as we want to do a really good job of narrating the topic that we actually want to talk about, and we want to do that with delicacy but also with meaning and purpose and all those things. So walking a fine line on some of them and just trying to figure out exactly how we want to frame some of these stories, but everything else, I mean, it's just kind of falling into place.
I'm liking where we're going. We're putting in a lot of work. We're planned, we're executing, we have set expectations for each other and for what the project's going to be. Keep on moving forward, keep doing what we're doing. We're going to be right at it. We're going to be done before we know it.
I know, it really, and it's crazy to think about. I mean, like, we haven't really had any issues views, so to speak. But we've had conversations about like, hey, we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta make this happen, and now, not later. You think you have a longer timeline than you do, and you really don't. And we're sitting here like, dang, we gotta air this. You know, it's July now. We started in June. We're 9th the way done, and we gotta get this thing done by August. And it's like, feels like a lot, but it will all be worth it in the end when it is all finished.
Absolutely.
No question.
I hope everybody enjoys what we're talking about and are learning from our mistakes, our experiences, hardships, successes even.
Honestly, even if you don't learn anything, I hope you just enjoy it, because we're actually out here doing something.
And if you don't like what we're doing, get fucked.
I don't know why you wouldn't. It's just two guys out here doing what they actually want to do, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just making the most of what we have right in front of us, and coming up with something greater than ourselves. And I will say this is one thing I thought about when the critic review stuff, if you want to start getting into the accolade territory, it's definitely a game within itself, 100%. And the more of them that you get under your belt, the more reps that you get with award ceremonies and receiving accolades, and also figuring out standards for what critics are looking for and the whole 9 yards, like the more successful you'll be in that area. And one thing that we've talked about is you really have 2 avenues to success. Both are equally as important. One being mainstream viewership, obviously getting views to your project. I mean, if you got 5 million views on one of your videos, it speaks for itself. But on top of that, how does it do in a critic review setting as well? And is it very well thought out? And do people think of it the same way? Yeah, I mean, if that's the route that you want to head in, just understand that's one of those things, once again, where you just got to get reps. I mean, we figured this out ourselves. You just submit it. You submit it to one of your projects to 20 different critic review places. You have opportunities to win cash prizes. I mean, up to, we've seen something crazy as $10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably film festivals out there for $100,000. If you want to go into that business and you want to try to rake up money, you know, gather people behind you to support what you're doing, it's a game within itself. So you got to treat it like that too, and you got to treat that like business as well. Right now, we are in product building phase by building this movie, and then we're going to go into heavy marketing phase after that, and that is going to consist of going to the critic reviews, getting newsletters written about the project, getting on podcasts. Like, you actually have to get out there, get vocal. The more that you can do that, the more virtual doors that you can knock on, the more opportunities you're giving for your project to be successful. I mean, we've already had videos hit almost 1,000 views. There's no question in our minds that was something as big and grandiose as this. You can't get at least 10,000, you know, if not 100,000, if not whatever. Yeah, you got to put in the effort to get the eyeballs on the project. And here's the thing, it's all fucking worth it. What else are you gonna do with your time? You gonna sit at home and watch Crunchyroll? What are you gonna do?
What else are you gonna do to be proud of?
It just depends on how you deem success for your own life. Do you deem it as doing cool and awesome shit, or do you deem it as just being happy? Those are 2 different things. So which one are you gonna pick today? That's the question.
It's up to you.
Amen.
Well, I appreciate you as always.
Brother.
We're getting shit done.
Amen.
We'll see you at the next round.
Peace.